bit storm came without warning, turning the quiet forest road into a blur of silver and shadows. Victoria tightened her grip on the steering wheel as the wind pushed against her SUV, but she tried to stay calm. She had handled tough situations in court, but this was different. This was isolation, cold, and fear, pressing in from all sides. When the tire finally gave out, she pulled over, stepped into the heavy rain, and felt the weight of helplessness settle over her. Her clothes soaked instantly, her hands trembling as she tried to loosen the bolts, but nothing worked. Every attempt only made her feel smaller against the storm. No signal, no passing cars, no chance of calling for help. It was just her, the rain, and the uncomfortable truth that sometimes even the strongest people break when life corners them. And in that moment, she realized she couldn't weather this storm alone. Bitch! Just when Victoria felt the weight of the storm closing in, a pair of headlights cut through the rain like a quiet promise of hope. An old, worn-out pickup truck slowed to a stop behind her, its engine humming softly beneath the thunder. She hesitated, unsure whether to trust a stranger on an empty road. But the man who stepped out carried a calm presence that softened her fear. His jacket was soaked, his boots muddy, yet there was a gentle steadiness in his voice as he asked if she needed help. Without showing any frustration, he knelt beside her car and examined the stubborn tire, moving with the confidence of someone who had done this 100 times before. He didn't ask questions, didn't judge, didn't hesitate. He simply helped a stranger standing alone in the storm. And in that simple act of kindness, the night took a quiet turn she never could have expected. As Noah worked on the tire, Victoria found herself watching him more closely than she intended. There was something steady and sincere in the way he moved. No rush, no show, just quiet dedication. When he finally spoke again, it wasn't about the storm or the broken tire. It was about his daughter. He mentioned her so naturally, with a soft laugh, calling her the smartest 7-year-old he knew. There was pride in his eyes, the kind that only comes from a parent who loves without conditions. But beneath that pride, Victoria sensed something heavier, an exhaustion, a worry he didn't voice, a burden he carried alone. Still, he tried to keep the moment light, joking that the only thing he couldn't fix for her was pancakes. And somehow, in the middle of the rain, that small, heartfelt confession made him feel more human, more real, and more vulnerable than any case file ever could. Dead next morning, as Victoria walked into her courtroom, she carried the usual composure expected of her position. But that calm shattered the moment she looked up and saw a familiar face standing nervously before her bench. It was Noah, the same man who had knelt in the rain to help her. For a breath, she couldn't move, her mind trying to make sense of the coincidence. She glanced down at the custody case file and felt a jolt of disbelief. This gentle, selfless man was the one being accused of neglect. The reports painted him as irresponsible, missed school meetings, unstable income, long absences due to work. On paper, he looked like someone failing his child. But Victoria had seen something the file didn't show. She had witnessed his patience, his kindness, his love for his daughter. And as he stood there, exhausted yet hopeful, she realized the storm had brought her face to face with the truth she needed to see. Victoria listened. As Noah spoke, his voice steady but carrying the weight of someone who had been fighting for far too long. He didn't try to impress her, didn't hide his struggles. He simply told the truth. He worked 2 jobs. He said, just to keep a roof over their heads. He missed school appointments because he had no one else to cover his shifts. He wasn't perfect, but every choice he made was for his daughter. And as Victoria watched him, she felt something shift inside her. The law demanded structure, evidence, proof. But compassion asked her to look deeper, to remember that people are more than the pieces written on paper. She realized Noah didn't need punishment. He needed support, guidance, a chance to stand on steady ground. So she chose the path that honored both justice and humanity, giving him the opportunity to rebuild without tearing his family apart. And in that moment, mercy became its own form of truth. In the days that followed, Victoria found herself thinking about Noah and the quiet strength he carried. She knew the court's decision had given him breathing room, but she also knew he needed more than just a legal chance. He needed a real opportunity. So she wrote him a simple, heartfelt note, thanking him for the kindness he showed her in the rain and acknowledging the character he revealed when no one was watching. Inside, she included the contact for a local job. Program she believed could change his path. When Noah read the letter, he couldn't hold back the emotion. For the first time in a long time, he felt seen, not judged. The job came through, steady and reliable, and slowly life began to ease. Evenings turned into warm routines, with Maya-burnt pancakes, shared laughter, and a home filled with hope. And every time the rain touched their windows, he remembered the day kindness turned into a second chance.